be a noisy experience, but a really fun one. My first time ever riding the rails in a speeder along the Finger Lakes of New York. 5 years ago, I had one of the coolest experiences ever, and that is riding the rails in a motor car, better known as a railroad speeder. Well, once again, my friend Hank invited me out to ride the rails in his motor car along the Finger Lakes of New York. This is an experience you're not going to want to miss. If you want to check it out, then simply come along with me. It's a beautiful, crisp morning here in New York, and we are coming to you from Himrod, New York. Over in that direction past that farm is Seneca Lake, one of the Finger Lakes, and right in front of us are the tracks for the Finger Lakes Railroad. This is the railroad tracks we're going to be operating today on for the speeder run. And in case you're not aware about what these pieces of equipment are or what they're used for, well, I'll tell you a few basic things I do know. So these are known as motor cars or speeders. These are pieces of equipment that were owned by the railroads back in the day for transportation of the crewmen. These replaced the old-time hand cars / pump cars. And these came about by putting a motor on one of those as an open-air car, and then eventually they evolved to some half cabs and even some full enclosure cabs. And they were responsible for the transportation of the crewmen to the work site. So similar to what you see today, known as MOW, maintenance away equipment, they're similar type vehicles with different armatures for doing track work and repair work. These were strictly responsible for carrying the crewmen to the work site. So the railroads didn't own the roads, they owned the rails, and they used the rails as the roads to get to the different locations. They're made by a company called Fairmont. Primarily, most of them are from the 1950s to the 1960s, I believe. And they were phased out in the 1980s for high rail vehicles. What it basically is typically it's a truck, could be other vehicles that has wheels that drop down to ride on the rails. So to make it more efficient, the high railers could actually drive to the nearest crossing of the work site. They position their vehicle on the crossing, lower down the train wheels, and drive the rest of the way to the work site. Saves a heck of a lot of time. These were eliminated, obsolete, because they can only run on rails. High railers can run on roads and rails. But today, they are just more or less a collector's piece. Hobbyists, enthusiasts do own these, and my friend Hank has owned numerous ones. And the one we're riding in today, he actually just picked up. It's a half cab design. So this would be a completely different experience from the ones from 5 years ago that I rode in, and also a completely unfamiliar area for me. But from what I heard, there are going to be a lot of beautiful things to see along the way. The owners of the speeders are arriving as we speak. One of them even arrived in his Stingray Corvette back there, pulling his speeder. And even though there's only a few people here so far, a few of them have recognized me from my channel, from my videos. So it's great to say hello and to meet you guys so far. And hopefully you guys enjoy the video that I put out of today's speeder run. Some of these are equipped with full lighting packages. They have LED lights, air horns, and this one has kind of like curtains for the side of it. Here's just the basic look inside this one here. Center controls. This one could sit 3 people. It's like a saddle seat right there. And then Hank's over here, which I absolutely love the color. It's a nice dark navy blue color. And it looks like it was fully restored. It even has stained wood on the inside. And looks like it's going to be a heck of a ride.
Hold that up just for a minute. I'm priming it.
Okay.
That's the choke. Okay, now you can let it down. I'll turn on the ignition. It should fire.
All right, so we just had our safety briefing here, and a couple things I found out is that this is a private run that they're doing with the Finger Lakes Railroad. Normally they are sanctioned runs by Norcoa. This one is private, and we're going south to Watkins Glen, New York. They're all staged up here now on the main line, and we're going to be going down to Watkins Glen, New York. Not a terribly long ride, but a scenic one. There's going to be some train bridges we're going to cross. We should be able to get some views of the lake, I believe. I think there's a waterfall as well. It's a short run compared to yesterday. Hank and the others did an 80-mile run yesterday in unfavorable weather. although I had the invitation to come for that as well. I'm glad I didn't because he said it was cold and wet. Today it's cooler out, but we got partly sunny skies and it's dry, so that's a good thing. The one thing though is you can probably hear Hank's speeder is a putt-putt or hit and miss. I think it's two-stroke if I'm not mistaken. It's loud. The exhaust is right underneath my seat. You most likely won't be able to hear me as we're moving. Just too much noise with the engine and the exhaust. I will be filming throughout the ride, but I'm probably just have natural sound and or music overlaid for certain portions just because me trying to shout over that, it's just not going to come out good. I'm not even going to try unless absolutely necessary. So just kind of give you an idea as to what to expect. But we're going to be departing here in just a few minutes.
It's actually a ham radio. I can enter in anything I want. What's nice about this one, it's wired into these.
get some flaggers to come out, make sure it's clear of traffic so we can proceed through. Well, looks like we came to our end point and they switched us to a different track. And I think we're going to be reversing onto it right now and should be stopping just up here. Get a shot of Hank Speeder in action here. Sucker's loud. Another putt-putt right there. Smoky, smelly, and loud, but it's the full experience. That one's nice and quiet. That's the guy with the Corvette Stingray. A couple more putt-putts. All right, I need to catch up with them. But as you've seen on the way here, we went through some really scenic areas, got some great views of Seneca Lake, saw several beautiful homes. Some of them were really close to the tracks, even their vehicles. I was surprised. And then came through the town area, a couple bystanders and onlookers, and definitely a big boating area, tourist area too. Well, here they are. We are officially in Watkins Glen. Passed through parts of it on the way here. For our convenience, there is a Walmart right there. I think there's an ALBIS as well. And they said there's other dining areas within a walking radius. We're here early, it's just after 10 a.m. So I'm probably gonna take a walk to get something to eat, whether it be brunch or an early lunch. And we're also gonna talk to Hank. He's gonna tell us all about his speeder so we can learn more things about it. But so far, fantastic run. Not a really long ride, but a scenic one. Some great trestles, and of course we're going to be returning the same way back, and we're going to have the same views just on the opposite end. So everything that we got to see, we're going to see on the other end, and we'll get some opposite views. But hopefully you guys are enjoying the video so far. I'm having a great time making it, and a lot more fun to come. Now that one's got the turntable.
Yeah. Putt-putts, popper, 2 cycles, there's no room for them, especially on M9s, even M19s. But the MTs, they came up with a turntable thing.
So let me know what you need me to do.
Well, we're going to each grab a handle, I guess.
Okay.
We're going to pull them out all the way.
Oh, that side?
Then we're going to lift and turn it in a circle. You ready?
Which way are we going to turn?
You want to go that way?
Okay.
All right. Nice.
Not too bad. All right, finally nice and quiet. We've got some time to talk, so I am here with my gracious host, Hank. So he did invite me out for this run today up here in the Finger Lakes of New York on his relatively brand new speeder, new to him at least. And I want to learn about it. I'm sure you do too. So Hank, what can you tell us about it?
Okay. Hi, everybody. So this is a 1942 Fairmont M9C. It was built during World War II. They call it a World War II car. And these have got the date on there. It says M9C. It has an OBD 2-cycle hit or miss engine. I just purchased this last week from a nice gentleman, Martin Rowe from New Hampshire. He was a speeder guy for 10 or 15 years. He's owned this car, and due to age and other personal reasons, he decided to get out of the hobby. So I picked it up. It's my third M9. Actually, no, it's my fourth M9. I own 3 of them, but one of them I sold, so it's my fourth M9. It's just an original. It's all original. It's all been restored very painstakingly by multiple owners before me. Marlon did all the woodworking, And the guy before him that owned it did the painting. He liked blue, he didn't like the yellow or orange. It says Pierre Marquette. That's a railroad, that's a historical railroad in Michigan. So all I can assume is that's the railroad it's from. I'm not sure. This cab design is very rare. It's not your normal. If you look at the other these are all Fairmonts, and they're pretty similar, slightly different variants of the two windows there with the point at the roof is pointed, but the front's flat, and there's that kind. Then there's the kind with it's more like a box with the roof is curved on the edges. So there's a couple of those.
This is almost like a subway car. It looks like the front of it there.
So that's those two designs you see all the time. This one here is an official Fairmont design that they sold and manufactured, but only to one specific railroad, I was told, and I was told it was the C&O. So maybe this car is a C&O car, but it's a very rare design. It looks kind of like a trolley. You know, it has the pointed windshield, and you don't see many of them. So that's one of the reasons I was interested in buying it from Marlin, was because it's such a rare car and really unique looking one, and it does run really well. He took really good, everybody that owned this car took really good care of it. It runs fantastic.
And can you go over the controls with us?
Sure. All right, let's see. So we'll start at this end, I guess. This is the timer. This controls when the spark fires. So if it's right in the middle, it would fire at top dead center, and it fires early here. So you want the firing, when you're going forward, you want the explosion to happen, the combustion, before the piston comes all the way up. So it has time to that's the way engines run.
I'm set back on, I'm backing up.
Turn the radio off here. Okay, so, and this is when you're running in reverse. Oh, that's right. So the engine doesn't have a reverse gear, it just runs backwards. So when the engine's running backwards, to go backwards, you want the timer here. Now when you start it, you don't want it to fire before it hits top dead center, because you stick this crank in. And actually, if you want, I'll demonstrate starting it. I don't know.
I'll throw that in when we actually do start it.
All right, that's a good idea. So that's the timer. And this is the throttle, just how much gas you give the engine. This is the brake. It's a manual brake, friction brake on the wheels. This here sets the mixture between air and gas. So you dial that in to lean out. You don't want to flood follow the spark plug with, you get the right mixture, air and gas anyway.
So that's essentially like the choke?
And you pull it up, that's the choke.
Yeah.
So when you're starting it cold, you need to kind of use that for a sec. That's ignition, lights. This is the main power. This tells you your alternator, what it's charging. And this is the belt, the last thing here. So it's a belt drive car. Underneath you got two big flywheels, and between the flywheels and the drive axle is a big fat 3-inch belt. And when this is the back, it's loose, it doesn't do anything. And then this is just a little bit tight, but it slips. And as you push forward, it gets tighter and tighter. And when you're going like full speed, you want it nice and tight. And the whole idea of these motors is they don't have a lot of torque, but they have really big flywheels, and all the energy goes into the flywheel. So to move forward from a stop, you rev the motor with the belt off until you got a lot of energy in those flywheels, and then as you engage the belt, the motor slows down right away, but in the process it transfers all that potential energy into the drive wheels and you start moving.
Okay.
You just have to pay attention, because if you give it too much belt too fast, the motor ain't going fast enough, you will stall it out really quick. So it takes practice.
And you demonstrated earlier that's a bell?
Yep. I can make the bell ring here. Let's see. Well, it don't want to ring. There it goes.
Oh, okay. There it is.
So.
And you have a comm system in here as well?
Oh yeah. A lot of these are really loud, and
yeah, I could attest for that.
So you wear these, and it's a comm system. You can talk to each other, hear each other really easily, and talk all you want with those on. The noise doesn't bother you. And it's also wired into the radio, so you can listen to the radio too.
Okay.
But of course, to talk on the radio, you just use the regular microphone.
Right. Now, obviously, these typically operate at track speed for the railroad, but what is like top speed that these can do?
Somewhere between 30 and 40.
Okay. I mean, we weren't going that fast, and it felt pretty fast.
Yeah, we had a 10-mile-an-hour limit today.
Yeah. So I can imagine 30, 40 is like a roller coaster.
It's crazy. Well,
yeah, we were on the open car. We had that going pretty good.
We were in the 30s on that, close to 30.
Yeah, that was a wild ride.
I think this one can actually go faster than the open car.
Okay.
This one, so far since I've owned it, I've already had it up to 32, and it's scary fast, and I don't want to go 32.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Well, I appreciate you explaining everything to the viewers and myself.
You're welcome.
I always enjoy learning about them, and I find them really fascinating, and especially knowing that they came from the railroad companies for the crew to get out to the work sites, and now they're still living on through people like you. So it's fantastic.
It's a hobby.
Yeah, it's an enjoyable one at that.
This is the gas tank's back here, by the way. This is kind of hidden on this one. It's a 5-gallon tank. Get about 100 miles out of it. It's about 25 miles to the gallon on these things. And it's a gas oil mix, 2-cycle, and it's 8 ounces for every gallon, so it's 16 to 1. It's like a lot more than like modern 2-cycle equipment.
Yeah,
so
pretty smoky.
It's very smoky.
Yeah. Well, we have about an hour downtime here. I'm gonna make my way to Walmart, use the bathroom, get a drink, probably get something to eat. And they did say there are other restaurants nearby. Obviously, we passed through the town area with the marina there and stuff like that, so we're not far from like downtown area. But where we stopped is right by the Walmart here in Watkins Glen. There's also ALBIS right over there too. So, gonna enjoy the downtime. And like I said, on the way back, I'm gonna give you some highlights of those trestles, the waterfalls, and whatever else I may have missed on the opposite end. While we have a little bit of time, there are two I wanted to show you a little bit closer in detail because they stood out to me. This one right in front of us stands out from the rest because it's not shiny and pristine. It looks like a working speeder that was working on the railroad. You can tell it's aged, it's worked, it's weathered, but it's a working piece of equipment, complete with a custom chair right there and custom air horns, battery powered. I do like the original look to that, although they do look amazingly beautiful, refurbished. I do like the way that looks. And this one up here is probably the biggest one and has the most seats. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 6 seats in this one. It's up a bit higher. It's got a big wooden platform and it's got stick shift just like a vehicle. Got the gauges right there. Wouldn't be surprised if the power plant's like a little 4 or 6 cylinder engine. This kind of reminds me of what you see at off-road parks or monster truck shows where they have big elevated platform off-road vehicles with seating on it. Looks similar to this, but with big monster truck wheels. I'm not sure if this is custom made or not, but looks like it gets the job done. Carry a lot of passengers, a lot of cargo, and you get good visibility. You're up a bit higher, and you got basically 360 vision all around it. Based on all the ones you've seen in this video, feel free to comment down below. Let me know which ones are your favorites, whether it's favorite color, favorite railroad. For me, I have a few of them. Obviously, I do like Hank's for the royal blue color, since blue is my favorite color. I do like the teal New York Central, burgundy Pensy. I do like the original non-refurbished one. And the big one here as well, the big boy, as we'll call it. They're all similar, but all unique, whether from different time periods, different railroads, different features offered, different designs, whether it's open cab or fully enclosed cab like the Pensy. They all say the all serve the same purpose, but are all one of a kind. And I'm really fascinated with them. It's like a cross between like a go-kart, golf cart, and a train locomotive. So those who own them are fortunate and enjoy the hobby. And those like me who don't own them, I'm fortunate to get invited for a ride along like this, because it's not every day you get the opportunity to do so. You're lucky enough if you see them running down the rails, but to actually ride along is a completely different experience. And I hope to do more in the future, because I have some great ideas for some videos and some one-of-a-kind view and vantage points with some new equipment I'm going to be obtaining. So we'll see if that comes to fruition in the future, but today I'm definitely enjoying the moment. And although I'm not able to share a lot of commentary, the footage does speak for itself. Hopefully the music is enjoyable and the natural sounds when they are mixed in. But we got about 25-30 minutes left to go. I'm going to finish up. I got some chicken tenders from Walmart, candy bar. Others are making their way over here now. And like I said, weather, it's at least dry. I wish it was clear blue skies and sunny, because it would make for better visuals. I know some of the footage does or has looked dark, at least through the screen, through the onboard screen, but can't control Mother Nature, but we're making do with what we were offered.
Talk loud. It says start car reverse. So that goes right there. You give it about half throttle. You gotta make sure everything's on. Don't need the lights on. Take your crank here. Goes in a hole on this side. Now you notice it says run car reverse over here. So as soon as it starts firing, I gotta quit moving. So it should be good. Then I just move this to here.
I think he's done that a couple, 2-3 times before.
See, we go backwards. We move it backwards, okay? So now we're in neutral. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kill the motor. And at the very last second, when it loses all its momentum, I'm going to let it fire, and it's going to fire and go the other way. And now, we're going forward.
ride back at the yard in Himrod, New York. We're going to back up off the main line. And it'll be time for them to load up on their trailers. It's a nice looking machine. Central. That one's extremely quiet compared to Hank's. Well, we left with partly cloudy skies, we returned with partly cloudy skies. In between, it was cloudy. And then there was silence.
And that is all she wrote.
And some bonus action, we were just told that NS is going to be rolling through. Their track hitches right up here. Well, I grabbed the wrong camera. I'm using my wide angle action camera instead of my Pocket 3, which I could zoom in on. But still appreciate the backdrop and the roar of the engines as it's approaching right now. It's gonna be hard to see, but it's coming right by the tree line up there. Like two powered units. Not the greatest view, but hearing the horn echoing as it was approaching was pretty awesome. Maybe we'll see it clearer back here. No, it's behind the trees. Oh, it's there. You heard it. A little bonus action since we were riding on the rails. Well, that was one heck of an adventure. Well, as you can see, weather has changed considerably, and during the ride, it definitely was chilly at times. Although we were maintaining a pretty low speed, we were in a lot of shady areas. It was overcast, and as you can tell, it is pretty windy out. So temperatures are in the, I think, mid to upper 50s. So it's not terrible, but I'm thankful it's not like yesterday where Hank said he was getting wet. It was windy, rainy, cold, and just downright miserable for an 80-mile ride. This ride was not that long at all. It was relatively short, but it's extremely scenic. And there are so many waterfalls and tributaries and culverts that most of them I couldn't even show on video because we either passed them too fast or they were just so enclosed by nature. But it was a funny combination because extremely scenic, beautiful woodland area, and then the smell of two-stroke exhaust. I was smelling it nearly the entire time. I was basically sitting right above the tailpipe there. I'm not complaining in the least. It was all part of the experience. Still getting fresh air, but definitely had the fumes surrounding us the entire ride. Those of us behind, though, were probably smelling it even worse than I was. Not a lot of speeders today, unlike the one I did 5 years ago, but it's a nice little group. As I mentioned, a few of the individuals who were here today did recognize me as speaking with them off camera. So again, hopefully you get to enjoy this video, and if you do see yourself with your speeder, timestamp it down below. Let us know which one you wore. But I'm gonna help Hank get his loaded up, and I just wanna say that to Hank, special thanks to you for allowing me to come out for the invitation to ride along the Finger Lakes of New York in his brand new speeder, which I absolutely love. It's a great combination of, having some coverage, but still open air. So it's the best of both worlds. I definitely enjoyed it. Although I couldn't do a lot of commentary during the ride, I think I made it work with what I was able to do, getting you unique perspectives, low to the ground, higher up, far away, close up. I did it, everything I could to make it a creative, fun, entertaining video, and hopefully you appreciate the effort. With that being said, thanks so much for coming along. If you haven't seen my previous video from 5 years ago, it'll be linked down below in the description. And to see more rail fun adventures, check the playlist as well. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you in the next video.